Good morning, everyone. So after we discuss the law of sines, we will be discussing today the law of cosines. Now, remember that in law of sines, we are going to use the law of sines for these cases. We are going to use law of cosine or law of sines rather if you have ASA case, two angles and the included side, SAA, two angles and a non-included side, and then SSA or the ambiguous case if the given are the two sides and a non-included angle. Now, on the other hand, law of cosines is used for the following cases. We have the first one, the SAS. In here, two sides and the included angle is given, and then of course it can be used also for the SSS or if the three sides are given. Now, law of cosines. In any triangle ABC, so this is the equation that you are going to use for the law of cosines. We have here a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. This is if the unknown is b, a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine B. And then if the unknown is c, then we have a squared plus b squared minus 2ab multiplied by cosine C. Now, hindi naman mahirap tandaan ang ating mga equations. You just need to look for the pattern. If the unknown is side A here, then you are going to add the square of the other two sides, which are B and C in triangle BC. And then minus twice the product noong other two sides. And then cosine, our reference angle is the opposite angle of the unknown side. So dito, A ang ating hahanapin. So we are going to use cosine A. Kung B, that is cosine B. And then kung C, that is cosine C. So if we are going to follow this pattern, and of course, suppose we have triangle DEF, which is an oblique triangle, and we are going to use the law of cosines. Then for us to get D, we will be having D squared is equal to the other two sides are E and F. So we have E squared plus F squared minus twice the product of these two. So 2EF and then cosine D dito. So we have here angle D. So that is the pattern. Of course, kung kukunin natin ay E, so we have E squared. The other two sides are D and F. So let's have D squared plus F squared minus twice itong dalawang to, D and F, and then cosine, our angle is angle E. And then lastly, kung F naman, we have F squared is equal to, the other two sides are D and E, so we have D squared plus E squared minus twice, itong dalawa ulit, D and E, so we have D, E, and then cosine angle F. So ganyan lang ang ating law of cosines. What if ang nawawala naman natin is angle? So we're going to look for the angle. So let us try to derive the equation using the law of cosines, itong equation na to, deriving the equation kung ang hahanapin naman natin is the angle. So let us use the first one. So if I have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared, and then minus 2bc multiplied by cosine A. So from here, let us derive the equation kung kukunin natin ay angle A. So andito yung angle A. So the whole expression here, let's put it on the other side of the equation. So magkakaroon tayo ng 2bc, then we have cosine A is equal to b squared plus c squared. This one, let's put it on the other side of the equation using APE. So we will be having here minus a squared. So again, angle A lang ang kukunin natin. So let's have here cosine A. Cosine A, definitely we will be using MPE. So the resulting equation will become b squared plus c squared minus a squared over, we have here 2bc. And as you all know, since ang kukuhanin natin is angle A, lilipat itong cosine, that will become cosine inverse. Okay, then it will become b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. So generally, ito yung ating magiging equation in finding the angle deriving from the law of cosines. So ito lang din yung pattern. So kung kukunin natin yung angle B, let's have cosine inverse No? So we have b squared plus c squared. These are the other two sides. So if this is b, so the other two sides are a and c. So magkakaroon tayo ng a squared plus c squared minus yung b dito. So we have b squared all over and then 2, and then these two sides here, a and c, we have 2ac. So yan ang equation natin. And on the other hand, if we have triangle DEF, for example, and we are going to get angle D, then if we are going to get angle D, the equation will become cosine inverse following our pattern here, since we have angle D here, so ang uunahin nating dalawang sides ay yung E and F. So magkakaroon tayo ng E squared plus F squared minus opposite yung angle D is side D, D squared over twice yung dalawang two sides here, E, F. So basically, yan yung pattern natin for us to get the angle. So let's have one more example. Suppose we are going to get F. Then we have cosine inverse, the two sides in DEF. We have D squared plus E squared, then minus F squared over 2 and then DE. Okay, so that is how are you going to derive equations if the unknown is the angle to any oblique triangles. I hope you get it. Now, let us have our example here. So, let's have a SAS case. SAS case muna tayo. So, you are going to solve triangle ABC if angle C is 80 degrees, side A is 8 centimeters, and B is 12 centimeters. Now, let us try to draw our triangle para makita nyo that indeed it is SAS. So, suppose we have here triangle ABC. So, we have A, B, and then C. Given is angle C, which is 80 degrees. And then opposite angle A is side A, which is 8 centimeters. And then opposite angle B is side B, which is 12 centimeters. So if you are going to look at our illustration, the given is the angle and of course the given two sides. So we have two sides and the included angle. So that is SAS case. So ibig sabihin, we are going to use here the law of cosine. Now let us try to solve using law of cosine. Okay, so we are going to solve triangle ABC, which means kukunin natin yung all the parts. Angle ay side A, side B, and side C. Kukunin din natin yung angle A, angle B, and angle C. And based on the given, ilagay na natin yung mga meron tayo. We have angle C, which is 80 degrees. We have side A, which is 8 centimeters, and then side B, which is 12 centimeters. So, ang kukunin natin dito ay tatlo na lang parts. We have the side C, angle A, and angle B. So, ang una natin kukunin is side C. So, using law of cosine, ano ang ating equation? Pag kukuhanin natin ang side C. Yes, we have C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB, and then we have cosine C. You are just going to substitute. So we have C squared is equal to A is 8, so 8 squared plus our B is 12, so 12 squared minus 2. Our A again is 8. Our B is 12, and then we have here cosine. Our angle C is 80 degrees. We can get the values one by one. So we have 8 squared, that is 64, plus 12 squared, that's 144. And then ito, pwede nyo nang kunin sa calculator diretso. You are just going to put 2 times 8 times 12 and then cosine 80. What will happen here? So, anong mangyayari dyan? Pag pinindot natin sa calculator, the value will become, ano yung magiging value? Yes, the value will become 33.34. And then simplify again, 64 plus 144 minus 33.34 33.34. 33.34, the answer is 174.66. We have here squared. So, ibig sabihin, we need to get the square root. Ano, for us to get C, we need to get the square root of 174.66. So, our C is equal to 174.66. The square root, it is 13.22. So, which means our C is actually 13.22. Okay, so this is how are you going to do it if you are going to solve it one by one. So, isa-isa kukunin nyo yung values. Ano? Pero, pwede namang hindi natin kunin isa-isa ang values. Since you can use your calculator, pwede nang idiretso natin. So, dito, from here, ayan, so we have C squared. As you all know, you have an exponent of 2 here. So for us to get C, ibig sabihin, you need to get the square root of everything here. So you have 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12. And then we have cosine 80. This one, pwede naman yung pindutin na diretso sa calculator without getting all the values here. So, if you are going to do that, look at here, dito sa ating taas. Okay, so we have here the square root of 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12 cosine 80. This is exactly the same as this. Ano? So, magkakaroon kayo ng value dito, which is 13.215. So, if we are going to round off, you are going to notice pareho lang naman ang sagot. So, we have 13.22. So, you can use your calculator kahit hindi na natin. If you do not want to get yung values dito isa-isa, pwede namang diretso na. Ano, if you have your applications, pwede nyong gamitin ito. But if you are going to use a calculator, ano, yung hindi mga application, yung calculator talaga, you can do this naman also. But you have to be aware of using the parentheses. Ano. So, dapat marunong kayong gumamit ng mga parentheses. So, ibig sabihin, pipindutin nyo muna yung square root and then parentheses para yung lahat ng expression na inyong ilalagay sa calculator ninyo, meaning to say that is under the radical sign. Ano? Pero kung nahihirapan sa calculator, hindi na calculator na hindi application, pwede namang isa-isahin nyo, just like this one. So nevertheless, as you can see here, you are going to arrive with the same answer, which is 13.21. So see here, pag diniretso natin sa calculator, that is 13.22. You have the same answer as this one. Okay, so meron na tayong side C. Now, let us get angle A. So again, yung na-derive natin in getting angle A, the equation is cosine. Cosine inverse, we have the other two sides. We have B squared plus C squared minus A squared. All over, we have 2B and then C. So, this is your equation. You are going to substitute it. So, we have cosine inverse. Our B is 12. So, we have 12 squared plus our C is 13.22. So, we have 13.22 squared. And then minus our C is 8. So, we have 8 squared. All over, you are going to multiply everything here. 2 times our B again is 12 and then our C is 13.22. You can simplify. Let us simplify. Simplify natin lahat. So we have cosine inverse. 12 squared is 144 plus 13.22 squared is 174.7684 minus 8 squared is 64 over, if you get the product, 212 and 13.22, the product is 317.28. You are going to simplify yung ating nasa numerator. 144 plus 174.7648 minus 64. The answer is 254.7684 divided by 317.28. Pwede nyo kunin yung value nito. You can get the value of this and then cosine inverse. Or pwede naman, ito na mismo yung pindutin nyo sa calculator. If you do that, we have here cosine inverse dito sa taas, 254.7684 over 312.28. So as you can see here, the answer is rounding off to the nearest hundredths, then our angle A is equal to 36.58 degrees. So that's 36.58 degrees. So that is angle A. But then again, katulad dito sa ating side C, if you do not want, kung ayaw nyo na kunin yung value na isa-isa, 12 squared, i-add, i-minus, tapos i-divide pa, then kunin ang cosine, pwede nyo namang pindutin sa calculator yung buong ito. So, ito mismo na expression na to, you can write it in the calculator, ganyan. Okay, so let's have this. Pag ginalagay nyo sa calculator, we have cosine inverse. We have here 12 squared plus 13.22 squared minus a squared, and then over the product of 212 and 13.22. If you have the application, eto naman ang lalabas. Pareho lang, 36.58 degrees. So, same answer lang tayo. Again, kung hindi application ang gagamitin nyo at yung calculator talaga, pwede rin naman. Again, dapat lang marunong kayong gumamit ng parenthesis. You know where to put the parenthesis para magamit nyo ng tama yung inyong mga calculator. So, the answer here is 36.58. So, our angle A is 36.58 degrees. So, isa na lang ang kukunin natin, which is angle B. So, hindi na tayo gagamit ng cosine law. Bakit? Kasi meron na tayong angle A and angle C. So, para makuha natin ang angle B, since the sum of the interior angle is 180, so we just subtract angle A and angle C from 180. Our angle A is 36.58 and our angle C is 80 degrees. So, if we are going to get the difference, subtract lang yan. The answer is 63.42 degrees. So, we have here 63.42 degrees. So, that is how are you going to solve triangle, oblique triangle, using the law of cosine. So, I hope you can still follow. Let us have another triangle for our next example. But this time around, we have the SSS case. Given are all the sides. So, we have triangle DEF. So, let's have D, E, and then F. Side D, opposite the angle D is 10. Side E, opposite of angle E is 15. And then side F is 20. Given here are all the sides. So, ibig sabihin, ang kukunin na lang natin are the three angles. So, we are going to look for the three angles. Yun ang kukunin natin. Pero, sige, let us write the given and find the unknown. So, we have here side D, that is 10. Side E, that is 15, and then side F, that is 20. So, we are going to look for angle D, angle E, and angle F. Using the law of cosine, because this is SSS case. So, using the law of cosine, let us get D. Let us derive. If we derive the equation to solve for angle D, then the equation will become cosine inverse. We have E squared plus F squared minus D squared all over, we have 2EF. So, this is the equation that you are going to use. You are going to substitute the values, cosine inverse. E is 15, so we have 15 squared plus 20 squared minus our D is 10, so 10 squared all over 2 multiply by E again is 15, and then our F is 20. Okay, again, pwede nyong kunin yung value nito, but if you have an application ng calculator, pwedeng ito na mismo yung pipindutin natin sa calculator. And if you do that, you look at here, we have cosine inverse 15 squared plus 20 squared minus 10 squared all over 2 times 15 times 20. This will be the answer. So, it means that our angle D, round off to the nearest hundredths, that is 28.96. So, our angle D here is 28.96 degrees. Then, we are going to get angle E this time around. Ang equation naman natin to find angle E, the other two sides are D and F, definitely. So, we have D squared plus f squared minus e squared all over 2 times df. So this is our equation. We just substitute cosine inverse. Our d is 10. So we have 10 squared plus our f is 20. So we have 20 squared minus e is 15. So 15 squared all over 2 times 10 times 20. Again, pwede nyong isa-isahin yan, get the values, pero you can use also the calculator. And if you are going to look at here, kapag pinrest natin sa calculator, cosine inverse 10 squared plus 20 squared minus 15 squared all over 2 times 10 times 20, this will be our answer. Which means that our angle E is equal to 46.57 degrees. That's 46.57 degrees. So, angle E is 46.57 degrees. And for us to get angle F, pwede naman kayong gumamit ng law of cosines. Pero, since meron na tayong angle D and angle E, we just subtract it from 180 for us to get angle F. So, 180 minus 28.96 minus 46.57, which means that our angle D is 104.47 degrees. So we have here 104.47 degrees. So again, ganyan ang paggamit ng law of cosines to solve an oblique triangles. I hope you get it and I hope it's clear. Thank you for watching.